And now, AM 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Well, good evening and welcome to Key Pacific's Talk About Strata here on AM 650. I'm Sterling Fox, and as always, my co-host is Tony Gioventu, Executive Director of the Condominium Homeowners Association of British Columbia. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Sterling, and Happy New Year.
Well, yeah, I guess we can still do that because we haven't seen each other a whole lot since then.
No.
I'm reading your stuff. Tony is also the condo columnist in the Vancouver province and numerous other publications around British Columbia, a much-read fellow, and we have a guest back with us after a prolonged one-year absence. So let's reintroduce Wendy to our listeners, Tony.
Wendy Atchison is the Registrar of the Homeowner Protection Office in British Columbia, and the Homeowner Protection Office is the office that deals with licensing of residential builders, licensed residential renovators, and the application of the warranty system for new homes in British Columbia.
All right, Wendy, nice to see you again.
Hi, Sterling. It's good to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Homeowner Protection Office. You're the registrar. Who's your minister? What department, what ministry are you attached to?
Well, we're actually part of BC Housing, which is a Crown Corporation.
Okay.
And we report to Minister Rich Coleman.
All right.
Who has been the minister responsible for housing for many years. So we're working with them and his ministry on a number of initiatives.
Okay, and what's front and center these days as we enter the new year of 2014 over at the Homeowner Protection Office? What's the top of the to-do list, Wendy?
Well, the top of the to-do list, we're actually working on some new regulations to increase licensing requirements for residential builders. So that's really exciting. That's been something we've been working on for quite some time, and it looks like it's going to be implemented this year.
Okay.
So that'll be a great consumer protection move as well, to increase the quality of residential construction in the province, make sure those builders are really well qualified, and that the home warranty insurance works well.
Now, we just had a budget in British Columbia, or at least the throne speech in British Columbia yesterday, Tony. The provincial budget is coming down next week. They're finally back at work. You haven't missed a day since the holiday. So what's new over at the Condominium Homeowners Association? What's your focus these days?
Well, we have as you know, we have a big transition in our industry because this year we introduced a mandatory requirement in December for depreciation reports across the province. So December 13th, we had that change that was significant. January 1st, we had another significant change that really impacts realtors and sales offices and strata corporations and lawyers and anyone dealing with sale and transaction of strata corporations. Is now we have a mandatory disclosure of parking spaces and storage lockers.
Oh, and haven't we talked about that a lot?
Well, we've talked about it. Everyone's talked about it for, I think, 10 years we've been talking about it. And we've had really a good level of cooperation with the Housing Policy Branch around just the implementation and the changes that occur. So now when a buyer buys, they find out directly what spaces am I being allocated to? Are there some that I will have exclusive allocation? Are they common collective use? Do I have ownership of them or assignment of them? All that information now has to be disclosed in the purchase documents when somebody's asking for an information certificate from the strata.
And there's an awful lot of ambiguity up until this new regulation has been introduced just a few short weeks ago. It's been a pretty gray area, hasn't it?
It's been a mess.
Yeah.
And what the other side of it is that strata corporations, I think oftentimes they kind of take the perspective that if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So, everybody's parking. There are no disputes or fights about parking, so let's not deal with it. But really in some stratas, it's been almost a rearrangement of the deck chairs. They've discovered that they've looked at their parking plans and no one's parking where they should be.
Right,
and the parking is actually assigned on the strata plan. So people have to start moving in the correct parking spaces. Next thing you know, everyone's moved. And, this is correcting 20 years of errors or assumptions that have been made. So it's a pretty significant change for strata corporations. But interesting point. I saw an information certificate that was sent to me last week where the strata corporation didn't know what the parking was or how it was allocated and didn't really care about how they were going to find it out. So they just crossed out that section of the form.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Well,
that's helpful, isn't it?
Well,
the lawyers will have a bit of a field day with that, don't you think?
It's not only not helpful, but the buyers collapse the sale. fail
Of
because
course.
they have no way of knowing, and you can't do it. You just can't do that.
Sure.
You have to disclose the information. So no, there are a lot of changes that are coming, and the implementation of depreciation reports. Everyone's now starting to see the real impact of what that means, and there have been some really positive impacts for buildings, whether they're newer or older, and there have been some longer-term issues for some buildings where they're really kind of afraid to see what's coming down.
This is Key Pacific's Talk About Strata here on AM 650. We have, of course, our usual listener email to respond to a little later in the program, but as has been the case in recent times, we also have our phone lines, and let's open them up. Art Factor is our producer. You'll talk to him first. The number is 604-280-0650, 604-280-0650. If you're listening to us from out of town, we got you covered toll-free, no less, at 1-877-280-0650. We are fortunate to have Wendy Atchison, Registrar of the Homeowner Protection Office, who, by the way, is a Strata resident herself.
Yes, I am.
We're here to talk about, among other things, Wendy, the new home warranty program in BC. So start off by telling us what a 2510 warranty is all about.
Well, 2510, that's really the acronym that we use to describe 3 different periods that people have to actually make a claim in.
Okay.
So for the 2-year period, that's coverage on materials and labor and design, and for detached homes and strata units themselves, so the individual strata units in a strata, there's 12 months coverage for defects in materials and labor.
Right.
So that's typically that'll be the problems you might have with your flooring or the internal part of your home. And also 15 months coverage for defects in material labels for common property for multi-unit stratas. And then you've got the full 2 years coverage for defects for major systems, heating, plumbing, electrical. If you find there's a problem with any of those things, you can make a claim on your warranty policy.
So as I understand it now already, there are 2 people who can make complaints. One, the individual strata title holder because of the warranty covering issues inside that particular dwelling. And then the strata council would also be involved under the new home warranty program for those common areas that they're responsible for, right? Oh, my goodness. Well, the phone lines are busy. You can probably tell that. But the Strata Council is...
Yes.
And
the Strata Council is actually responsible for the 5 and 10 portions of the warranty as well. Now, you get 5 years coverage for building envelope defects.
Okay.
So, you've got a leaky roof.
Yep.
You've got a problem with your walls. Anything that, might let in unintended water penetration. We call it. Rain, in other words.
So, and is the builder on the hook for if it's proven to be a builder's defect 2 or 3 years later? Is the builder still required under the terms of the new home warranty to get down there and literally plug that leak?
Well, it varies between warranty insurance providers,
okay.
But the builders certainly are going to be expected to go back and fix the smaller things, and usually any building envelope problems as well. But the main thing is that no matter what happens with the builder, if they go out of business or leave town, whatever happens, the homeowners still have the protection
because
from
of the
insurance company.
Right.
So the 10 part of the 2510
the 10, okay, right.
is for structural defects. So, the big ticket items.
Okay.
And that's going to be 10 years, and the warranty insurance company would take care of that for 10 years.
Now, Tony, based on your experience, which of these categories, 2, 5, or 10, produce the most complaints or unsatisfied customers?
Well, surprisingly enough, there are not that many complaints.
Really?
Yeah.
And that has to do with the quality of building that Wendy's office is, in fact, trying to even elevate more with new regs this year.
I think that's part of it. And certainly when the regulations came into play, it raised the bar already for builders. So they want to make sure they're building a proper product so they don't have to have a claim on it.
Interesting. Tony?
Well, and certainly we've had complaints. So I'm not saying there aren't complaints.
Of course, right.
But the number of
not the
complaints,
volume one might expect.
They're not the volume we would expect. There are 2 reasons for that. One, of course, is homes are much better constructed than they were prior to 2000. So
right.
The warranty system creates a level of impartiality that results in scrutiny on the construction process. So you have an independent company who's the insurance provider carrying the risk for someone else who is doing the construction.
Right.
So they scrutinize the construction and do peer reviews and have engineering and stuff, which helps to ensure that you get a better quality result. And that's as it turns out, we've actually had a number of other worldwide constituencies look at our warranty system because it's been so successful, because the relationship creates its scrutiny, impartiality, and accountability. So even if the developer doesn't fulfill their obligations, there's still the warranty program, the insurance policy to catch you. But the other side of it is there's a substantial duty on the Strata Corporation and the Strata Council to administer that warranty. It's a contractual relationship, right? So they need to know when the periods run out, when the expiry date's out, what's warranted, what's not warranted.
Right.
They need to know when things need to be inspected, what to expect from performance from those materials. And so when you're doing things like looking at the 5-year building envelope warranty, it's prudent to get a 4-year review of the building system and the building envelope, roofing, decks, balconies, windows, doors, drainage systems, by an independent consultant, so that you can actually create a filing for a bona fide claim if it comes up. Surprisingly, this is where strata corporations really struggle, because we have changing strata councils, changing management companies. They miss dates, they miss calculations, they don't approve funding to be able to get the studies done, and so they miss out on those opportunities. That's the other side of the relationship, and I think that's why we don't see as many complaints sometimes, is because the ability to complain, the period just simply runs out for them.
We'll get to calls in just a second. And Jim in Richmond, you're up first. But Wendy, just before that, if I'm reading the papers, and read the Province again this weekend, and where Tony's I always read Tony's column.
Me too.
And on Thursdays now. But they have all the weekend ads with all of these spiffy new buildings, right? So if I'm shopping, and a lot of boomers who listen to AM 650 are in the process right now of downsizing their lives, and seriously, perhaps for the first time ever, considering Strata as an alternative. So if I'm shopping around these spiffy new buildings and kicking the tires, so to speak, what is the obligation of the seller of these potential units that I'm looking at to inform me, the buyer, about the new home warranty and the protections that come with buying a brand new unit?
Well, actually, there is an obligation to disclose that, especially for multi-unit stratas. It will be actually in their disclosure notice. The developer provides whether or not there is home warranty insurance. But the other thing is that it's really easy for anybody to check, somebody looking, or a realtor, to check our new homes registry. We have a new homes registry. It's online on our website.
Okay.
And anybody can punch in a legal address or even a civic address and find out right away if the home has home warranty insurance on it, who the builder is, who the home warranty insurance provider is, or if it doesn't have home warranty insurance.
Okay, so I mean, you would think that without getting into it too much, that it would be an automatic. It's a brand new dwelling. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of warranty program, but there must be some recognition of the fact that a lot of people, they get a little excited about this purchase of all of this spiffy new stuff, and some of that stuff just slides right by them. It seems a little unfathomable sometimes, but they don't get it. So the seller is obliged.
It would be pretty rare for a multi-unit to not have home warranty insurance.
I would think so.
Because the building department actually requires that before they even issue a building permit.
Right.
Sometimes on the single families, there are some exemptions, so people need to be aware of those.
Okay. Let's get to the phones. And Jim in Richmond, thank you for being patient. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm on Strata Council here in Richmond in a very old complex. One of the issues that's going on now is we're starting to see the plumbing start to go. Perforating out the copper pipe will do that.
Okay.
One of the things the last time I looked at the Condominium Act, it's very gray about what the strata covers. Now, as far as I know, and it looks like to me that it's up to the Strata Council to select what they will cover, what they won't cover. Because as far as I understand it, it's from the piping that enters the unit and the grounds is what Strata is responsible for. Whereas it used to be anything that exited the wall, the owner was responsible for. And now it looks like that particular area is gray. Is this true, or am I just misreading it?
Tony, what do you think?
No, it's still pretty clear. One of the challenges, Jim, in older strata plans is that the boundaries of common property might not be that clear.
Yes.
But what you will find is that the definitions of common property under the Act actually say pipes, wires, and ducts that are used in connection with or capable of using in connection with another strata lot are common property. And so if you're an apartment type building, not townhouses, are you apartments or townhouses?
No, this is a townhouse. This is where it's gray.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not gray though. With a townhouse, we'd have to look closely at the strata plan. Generally in a townhouse, but again, you'd have to look at the strata plan and the delivery to see where it is. Each townhouse has a separate water line that serves each of the units. And if that's the case, that you have a separate water line that delivers water to your unit, then from the water line of the wall where it enters your unit to within your unit, it's quite likely the responsibility of each owner. That was the case under the Condominium Act as well.
Okay, it didn't used to be that way.
Yeah, it's been that way for a long time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So now, but here's the challenge, especially in older developments when you're dealing with piping in townhouses. The real challenge is if the Strata Corporation leaves it up to your owners, how many of the owners are actually going to do it before it's a crisis?
Not till it bursts.
Of
Right,
course.
exactly, right? And that's the problem.
That's always the case.
And economically, if each owner goes out to contract to get this work done, it'll be substantially more costly per unit than if you do them all as under one contract.
Right.
So one of the things the Strata Corporation can do is they can actually pass a resolution and adopt a bylaw where the Strata will take responsibility for the piping in the Strata lots, or they could also pass resolutions or get a collective interest of all of the owners to get all the piping done at the same time.
Well, we've done a bylaw regarding the strata. Essentially, we've basically taken responsibility for when it passes through the wall.
Right.
Because with these pipes, if something goes, you're going to be pulling out gyprock, furniture. Well, not furniture, but say attachments such as kitchen cabinets, things like that. Because the pipes actually run over top of the kitchen sink, right over the roof to the washroom area and that stuff. Well, you're right over top of the kitchen. You've got all sorts of things passing through this area.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be complicated. If your Strata would like a bit of help to try and sort this out and look at the most feasible way, call our office. We'd be glad to have somebody get in touch and sit down with you and help you out. And you can go to the CHOA website, which is choa.bc.ca, and we'll be really happy to have somebody get back to you and help you out. I'll get Art to get your phone number, though, in the meantime, and we'll follow up with you.
Okay, Jim, thanks very much for your call. I appreciate it. And hopefully you'll pop by that website. And thank you for bringing it up, Tony. It's one of the best websites in the province for condominium and strata owners and information, especially if you're shopping perhaps for the first time and you're just entering a whole different world in terms of real estate and dwelling laws and rules. CHOA, the Condominium Homeowners Association, CHOA.bc.ca. Jim and anyone else interested, it's a fantastic website. We'll get you, Wendy Atchison from the Homeowner Protection Office, to pass along your website and address. First, we need to take a quick break as we continue here on Experts on Call. It's Key Pacific's Talk About Strata with Tony Gioventu and Stirling Fox, and we're back right after this.
There's still more ahead with Experts on Call, the show focused on delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Successful strata management starts with good listening. With Key Pacific Property Management, your questions and concerns are addressed quickly and professionally. Key Pacific is Metro Vancouver's only boutique property management company. Small or large, residential, commercial, or industrial, they will tailor a management package that suits your needs. Full service to accounting only and everything in between. Key Pacific Property Management Limited. Online at keypacific.com. That's QUAY Pacific.com. Has your Strata Corporation experienced a substantial increase in insurance costs? Is your Strata insured properly? CMW Insurance offers a program specially tailored to Strata corporations with competitive pricing and a focus on hands-on customer service. Learn more online at cmwinsurance.com. That's cmwinsurance.com. CMW Insurance. Professional. Independent. Canadian.
Are leaky water pipes or slow drains causing you high repair and renovation costs? Are you dreading repiping your building? Hot and cold pipes, drain lines, sewer lines, mechanical systems. The new Flow process restores pipes better than new by applying an epoxy coating to the inside of the pipe. Water never touches the metal again. Problem solved, guaranteed. Learn more online at newflowbc.com. That's nuflowbc.com.